Good morning. Thank you for joining us here at New Creation Church. We're about to begin our Sunday worship service. Last week we talked about having an ear to hear. This week I want to talk about keeping that ear and what it might look like when we lose that ear. So I'm glad that you decided to be with us, and I hope this service is a blessing to you. God bless you, and we'll see you shortly. Welcome to the house of the Lord. Thank you for coming out this afternoon. It is good to be here. Welcome all of you that are joining us online also. Thank God for His mercy, His grace, His love that endureth forever. You know how it endures forever? Because us living in eternity, His mercy is going to live in eternity because He had mercy on us. His grace is going to live in eternity because of us living for eternity. So evidence of His mercy and His grace. Last week we talked about having an ear. Having an ear to hear the Lord. The ability to hear, how we hear, where we hear from. But I'm going to look at it from a different angle today. And we're going to start in the book of James, chapter 1. Starting with the 22nd verse, James 1 and 22. It says, "But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only. Be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves." Deceiving your own selves. In other words, you deceive yourself when you don't do the word. You deceive yourself. "For if any be a hearer therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed." A man that hears and does it will be blessed. Of the word, this man shall be blessed in his deed of the word, and not a doer. The one that's not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholdeth himself, and goeth his way, and forgetteth what manner of man that he is. I'll explain what that says. If we hear the word and we don't do the word, it gives us the metaphor that if we looked at ourselves in the mirror and walked away and forgot what we look like. So if you don't do the word, you are like somebody that would look in the mirror and forget what you look like. But if you hear the word and do the word, you shall be blessed. So the opposite would be true, which I'm not going to say. You could do the math on that. But I want to rewind to the time of the prophet Eli, or Eli. And he got older in age. His sons weren't doers of the word. His sons weren't doers of the word. They offered to the Lord strange fire. And there was a young boy that was dedicated and under the watch of Eli, the prophet, and his name was Samuel. And Samuel was a little boy, but The Lord called Samuel, and he thought it was Eli, and he says, yes, I'm here. And this went on numerous times until Eli, it clicked in his head. It happens again. Say, speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. But what happened, the reason that Eli didn't catch it right away is because he had lost his ability to hear the Lord. Eli had lost his ear. It's one thing to have never heard the Lord. It's one thing to never have heard the Lord speak. But how tragic would it be that you've heard the Lord speak, but you no longer hear the Lord speak? What a tragedy that would be. What a tragedy that you once heard Him speak to you, and you no longer hear Him speak to you or to me. Because, like the prophet Eli, that I lost my ear. I lost my ability to hear what thus saith the Lord. It says prior to this incident with Eli, it says, in those days the word of the Lord was precious. What it is meaning is that it was uncommon and rare. But that word precious, I think, fits. And it fits today. A precious thing to hear the word of the Lord. How precious it is. We are bombarded with information in today's time. There's news feeds everywhere. There's all kinds of places that you can go, and it is communicated in seconds. A news feed on Twitter that's just moving and moving in seconds. And something is trending, right? Something is trending. But a lot of false information, a lot of misinformation, a lot of half information. But that's not how the Lord gives it. There is no better message that you will get than the message that comes from the Lord. There's no better message. But we may be up to speed on Twitter. We may be up to speed on Instagram. We might be up to speed in all the news feeds and have no word. Have nothing to sink your teeth into. So the word of the Lord, the voice of the Lord, it's precious. It's precious. But Eli, the prophet, he lost his ability to hear. And we're going to look closer at what that may look like. In the second book of Samuel, in chapter 12, starting with the first verse. And the Lord sent Nathan unto David. And he came unto him and said unto him, there were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing, save one little ewe lamb, which he had bought and nourished up, and it grew up together with him and with his children. It did eat of his own meat and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter. In other words, this little lamb was a family pet that was like family. It was. I know some people mock this with animals, but this is it's a illustration. But he said it was like a daughter to this man. And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to talk of his he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come to him. In other words, he had all that he would need, but he took this other man's lamb and took it for a meal. So he had everything. And this other man only had that lamb. That's all he had. In other words, the man called rich man, he was wealthy. He had 401ks. He had all these different investments and properties and rental properties and all this income. And some other man, all he had was the bare minimum. He went and took it from him. And listen to this. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man. And he said to Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that has done this thing shall surely die. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing and because he had no pity. Do you remember the opening verse that it says it's likened unto a man that looks in the mirror and forgets what he looks like? It's likened unto a man that he forgets who he is. He doesn't know who he is. And the prophet Nathan's talking to David, and he's telling David about this man. And what happened to David? He got anger. He was angry. And he says, this man shall surely die. You see how we are? When someone else does something, we're ready to bring the guillotine down. When someone else does something, we're ready to pronounce judgment. We're ready to say, how dare you act like this? How dare you commit this act? You shall surely die. And not able to turn the mirror to ourselves. Somebody can have a way about themselves and have something that they missed the mark in. And somebody else does the exact same thing, and they're ready to say, this person is like this, and this person is like that, and come down on them, and not be able to point it that they're that way. The reason that a lot of people can point out certain things on other people, because it's the same trait that they have. They just don't know it. They don't see it in the mirror. But they can see it in somebody else's actions. And even say, I hate when people do that. And yet they do it all the time. Somebody that never picks up the check when you go to lunch, complain about somebody that never picks up the check. They never pick up a check. Wait. Someone that never tips, complain about someone that never tips. Somebody that tailgates somebody while they're driving, complain about everyone else tailgating. Somebody that shifts lanes erratically, and they complain about other people shifting lanes erratically. Be careful what you see in other people. What I mean by be careful, make sure that what we're judging, if I can use the word judge, isn't us. The first place we should check is check home. The first place we should check is check our heart. We can look from a distance and think we know somebody's story. And we may only know a small portion. We may not know what has transpired prior that leads somebody to live a certain way in life. We think we may know. I saw this meme. People hate you because they don't know your side of the story. There's people out there that hate you because they don't know your side of the story. You think there's some truth to that? There's people that may dislike you, but they don't know your side of the story. They don't know what you've been through. And unfortunately, we can't make it clear to people. Somebody may think they know you, they don't really know you. They know what you look like, they know your name, they know certain things, they may know the car you drive, but they may not know you. I know there's a lot of people that know who I am, but they don't know me. They know my name. If they saw me somewhere, they could recognize me and put my name to my face, but they don't know me. And a lot of people don't know my story. And what I mean my story, what I've been through, the roads I've traveled, the challenges I've been through, and what makes me me, and me being an enigma, which I can't explain and I don't have time to explain. And I don't fit, and I'm okay with not fitting. Not allowed to play in the reindeer games. Right? And what happened to them? They got thrown to the island of misfits. Right? All the misfits. Why am I such a misfit? Now, some of you don't know. But that's what happens. And people want to put you in certain categories, in certain boxes. They want you to fit. And if you don't, they don't like it. You know why? Because it brings fear to them. See, if you don't fit, it brings fear to people. When I was a young boy in elementary school, I remember, I think the term now is called challenged, the challenged people. Back then, they didn't call them challenged. Anyone want to say in your mind what the word they would use? It's not a very nice word. But they had their own classroom, but they ate with us, they had recess with us. And some of the kids would pick on them and make fun of them and mock them. And me as a young boy, I never signed up for that. I never was one to say, I'm going to pick on these challenged children or do something to them. I even as a young boy, not that my parents pulled me aside and said, hey, when you go to school, there's going to be challenged kids there. Make sure you're nice to them. No, it was just in me that I could tell that they didn't have all the tools to protect themselves. And people would do, the children do this, and students do this, and adults do it, where then they gang up and put pressure on people. You have to look this way. You have to act this way. You have to be this way. And if you don't fit, you're kicked out of the club. You're kicked out of the club. The same people that will criticize what's called gangs can have a gang mentality. It's our gang. And these are our colors. And what they mean is what they wear is their colors. And you see them and you know their colors. And our church is the best church. Our church is the greatest church. We know more than all other churches know. It's no different than a gang, right? Yeah, I got quiet. Yes. It's no different. It's still a gang mindset. We're a gang. We just don't call it a gang. We just don't call it a club. What kind of church are you? You know what people mean a lot of times when they say what kind of church you are? What race is your church? That's what people mean. The most segregated place in our country is church. Anyone want to tell anyone what race our church is? Because you can't. Because it doesn't fit. Because there's a group of people that's not what their priority is. We're not looking to be a member of a gang. We're looking for a place to get fed. We're looking for a place to find shelter. We're looking for a place that loves the Lord and loves their neighbor as themselves. But how a man can look and judge and criticize everything, but can say nothing about themselves. Who am I? What are my strengths? But what are my weaknesses? Not to put myself down, but to be able to acknowledge where I might need some work. To acknowledge where I might need. Raise my hand. Can you help me? Can you give me a hand here? I got this. No, I don't got it. I need some help. Moses, my hands are getting tired. Aaron and her holding up the arms. And Moses' arms get tired and they'd start losing. They got to get them arms back up. I can't do this on my own. I can't be like the one-man band thing with the drum and the thing and everything. Right? The town sheriff, the town judge, the town everything. No. I got to do what I do. But you have to do what you do. But somewhere that we can be a help to one another. Because the last thing you need is to walk into a place that's going to give you the beat down. Right? Because you've already had the beat down. There's nobody in here that hasn't had the beat down. Because that's what people do. They beat people down. My friend Ray, when we were young in high school, he goes, when you walk in a place, you walk in like you've been there, like you belong there. And somewhere when I was young, I realized, like walking into a classroom where nobody knows you and you're new, you better walk in with some form of confidence, because the other boys, if they smell blood, they're jumping on you. But if they're like, wait a second. It's no different today with grown people either. They smell weakness. They smell blood. They'll jump on you. Well, it's like, hey. I don't want to jump in your space, but at the same time, I have to own my space. I don't want to jump on your space, but I have to own my space. And say, I'm not here to take your lamb, but I am going to protect my lambs. And whatever those lambs may be, prior to having children and grandchildren, the lambs is my peace. The lamb is my heart. The lamb is my life. It doesn't change. It just gets, your flock gets bigger. Used to be, it was just you walking and protecting yourself, but now When you have children, you're protecting them too, or the people around you, or your circle around you. But how many times can we not notice what somebody else may be going through, but we can notice their mistakes? And King David was quick. This man shall surely die. And I'm hammering this home because we need to be able to be the man that can look in the mirror and remember who we are instead of who other people are. And Nathan said to David, "Thou art the man. You, King David, are the man that I am talking about." What a punch in the gut. See, God has a way of addressing an issue that is beyond how man addresses an issue. See, God can paint a picture for us to get clarity. And I'm big on illustrations. I'm big on metaphors. I'm big. I talk in metaphors. I talk in illustrations because metaphors and illustrations helps to bring clarity to us. And this prophet bringing this illustration and metaphor. I'll give you one that I went through, and I think I may have shared in the past, but for if you haven't heard it. But there was a president that was in office, and I had a conception of this president. I had a conception. I had a belief. And one day, the Lord showed me this president. And he was in an old station wagon, old school station wagon. And he was driving the station wagon. And the station wagon was filthy. But I realized what the Lord was showing me. He was showing me, he was bringing clarity to me that this man is dirty. Why? Because my conception was wrong. It wasn't a news story. It wasn't me having coffee with someone and somebody telling me something. It was the Lord showing me this man isn't straight and narrow and living a clean life. Why do I say that? Because many times we're like David. We see some, but we don't see the whole picture. And nobody is going to make us think otherwise. And that is not the way we should go through life. You should be open to your thoughts being corrected. Was the Lord correcting my thoughts? Yes, he was correcting my thoughts. But I thank God that he did that because that he knew that I would accept what he said. So many times when I hear people make statements or opinions, I want to just say, and what would the Lord say? And what would the Lord say about them? Not what everybody else would say or what everybody else says. I ask, what would the Lord say? Because more important what everyone else says. It's what does the Lord say? What does the Lord have to say about it? One time someone made this statement. They said, why does the Lord always side with you? You know what my response was? The Lord doesn't side with me. What you're getting is me siding with the Lord. See, you're misreading it. It's not that the Lord always sides with me. It's just that I choose to side with the Lord. Because if the Lord says, this is sealed, this is anointed, this is ordained, and everyone else says it's not, I'm staying right here with what thus saith the Lord. Now, am I saying I have all the answers and everything the Lord has to say comes through me? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if God says one thing and everyone else is saying another, I'm going to go with what God has to say. And there's been times that people say, that guy's crazy. Well, what does the Lord have to say? Not that I'm crazy, but what does he have to say about the situation? What does he have to say about the individual? Not what everybody else has to say. Because it's no different than when I was in elementary school and all the regular kids are ganging up against the challenge kids. It's no different. See, we could be just like those young children, and we want to be with all of the masses and side with them against whoever that challenged person is. Do you see that? But what does the Lord say? What does the Lord say about a hurting person? About a person that has been rejected? A person that's been cast off? What does the Lord say? Because King David went and took someone else's precious lamb and didn't even realize when the prophet brought it to his attention that it was him. Some people have their heels in the ground and their minds made up. And there's nothing you could say to them to change it. Don't be that person. What am I saying? Be willing. Be open to the Lord speaking to you and possibly changing some perspectives you may have. Because I would rather be corrected than continue down a path that is not the truth or where the Lord wants me to be, just so I can fit in with the other reindeer. And I made up my mind a long time ago. If the gang doesn't want to accept me, then I don't want to be in that gang. I don't want to, that's all right. Because I was having a conversation with my son this week, and I told him, I said, the first person I have to answer to, and this may not go in line with how you think, but follow me here. The first person I have to answer to is myself. I have to answer to myself. I have to look at myself in the mirror. So it's not what someone may say or think. It's that I have to live with this man every second of every day. So for that reason, I have to look at the decisions I make because I have to answer to myself. Well, what about the Lord? Well, that's next. I have to answer to the Lord. I have to answer to myself, and I have to answer to the Lord. But you answer to yourself all the time. You're answering to yourself as I speak right now. You're answering to yourself. And then hopefully it's the Lord that you answer to. Then I have to answer to my loved ones. And guess what? I have to answer to you. Yes, I have to answer to you. My decisions will affect your life. My decisions will affect your life. I make the wrong decision. I do the wrong thing. Don't tell me it won't affect you. Every single one of you, it will affect you. This isn't fear and it's not pressure. I was telling my wife this past week, and it doesn't take long to watch me the way I am with my children, the way I am with my grandchildren, the way I am with that little guy that runs around here. You know what I'm talking about? Leo, the way I am. And people can criticize me. But what that is a reflection of how I'll be with you. Because if I can mistreat the people closest to me, what would stop me from mistreating you? And if I can have love and compassion for this little feline, doesn't that show that I can have love and compassion for anybody? Would you rather be a man that kicks that cat, literally, grabs it, what's it called, the scruff? Is that on the back right here? And go cast it out somewhere? What kind of man would I be? Now, I'm not telling you don't like cats, fine. But don't mistreat them. Did you catch me? You don't need to mistreat them. But my ability to be the way I am with my children is a reflection of who I am. And I have had people confront me and say, you love your children more than you love me. No, I've been told that. Well, see, when my children came into this world, my life was no longer mine. And I have to do everything in my power to protect them and not let me be the one to hurt them. Because they're my responsibility. To change the order would mean for me to change something that then would be out of order. And if I became out of order there, I'm going to be out of order with you also. And it's not a competition. It's not a hierarchy. Because if it's me and you, I'm going to give you my whatever I can at that moment when it's me and you. Did that make sense? My relationship, when I'm communicating with one of you or interacting with one of you, it's you at that moment. I should have welcomed, some of you probably already might have noticed, Minister Todd Ross back in the house. He's been on a sabbatical. They didn't catch it. But he's been out of town, and we've communicated through the years. We've had a line of communication throughout this time. And then Uh, it was a year and a half, 2 years ago. He had said that he wanted to come back. And I'm like, yeah. And then recently, I had reached out to him. I said, hey, we're ready for you and to come back. But this past week, it was like, I'm on my way. I'm like, what? Uh, it's just going to take me, and once I get my vehicle loaded up, I'm heading home. So I'm like, text me when you get to San Antonio. Keep me posted and watch. And then he arrived and took a couple days, which not the time that it took, it just that he got here. But me interacting with him or me talking to him or me uh, concerned with him is going to be me and him at that moment. It's not going to be me, him, and all the other people I have in my life at that moment. When I am engaging with somebody, I'm engaging with that person, and that's where I'm at. I'm present at that time. So as much as I love my children, and as much as I love my grandchildren, if I'm engaging with you, I can engage and not remove my love for them. Or if I'm loving them, it's not that I'm not loving you. So trying to change any of it would disrupt the flow of it. Because that's all I know how to do is engage. I don't know how to fake it. I don't know how to do the facade thing or I don't know how to do that. I just know to engage. And some people don't want to engage, and I get it. I'm not going to engage with someone that doesn't want to engage. If I'm going to engage with you, I'm going to engage from here, and it's my heart. That's why I don't make a good salesman, because I can't give you the pitch. What do they teach a salesman? You go like this. Do you understand what a salesman will do? They'll go like this to you. You want to buy this car? You want to pay $59,000, right? See, they're selling you. And some people, that's what they do. It's not me. I'm just going to pour out my heart and speak from my heart, or I'm going to say nothing. That's just the way I am. But I will engage. So my love for somebody in my life doesn't take away my love for anyone else. In fact, I look at it this way. The more you love the Lord, the more it gives you the ability to love other people. And the more you love other people, it's not that you're limited, it just keeps growing. So me loving a little feline doesn't remove my love for anybody else. It's just more of me being out there. How many times one of you out there will text me, Leo has been fed. Leo is over. Like, here's the priority at New Creation Church. First thing, Pastor Leo has been fed. He has water. He is good. Is that what you guys have to worry about? We got bigger fish to fry, we could say. But do you see how that works? Yes, it is all right. Because it's a reflection of our little lamb. We don't have any real lions. We don't have any real tigers and bears. Oh my! But we do have this. We do have this little. That I believe that he was a gift. Because I was at this property 20, 30 times. I never saw him. The day I got the keys, I'm not even thinking. This little guy's at my feet. He's right here, and he's going around my legs, and we're dedicating the building and praying, and this little guy's following me. Probably 5 months old. And Minister Ross, I told him, I said, just so you know, this guy thinks it's his building. And he does. Watch him around. He thinks it's not he's with us, we're with him. Like, this is in his mind, this is all his. So he'll be like, hey, welcome. The policeman will come and they'll say, how's Leo doing? No, seriously, they will. You see a policeman, ask them if they know who Leo is. They say, yeah, Leo comes, jumps in our car, climbs up with us, gets on the dashboard and hangs out. Hey, guys, right here, got you. But it's a reflection. It's a reflection of us. It's our little lamb. And could you imagine if somebody from the zoo that has all them animals came and took him away? That was the metaphor that was used on King David. And King David didn't even realize it was him. He forgot what manner of man that he was. He forgot it. And I believe the period is 7 months that he went separated from the Lord. 7 months. This morning we talked about not letting the sun go down on your wrath. In other words, don't even let one day get taken from you. He went 7 months. He went 7 months. Some people go years without hearing the Lord. I can't do it. It's not every Sunday I need a word. No. Every day I need a word from the Lord. Every day. Every day I'm looking for God to direct me. I'm looking for God to speak to me. I'm going to share this one before I start closing this up. And this has happened, and I'm going to say I'm guilty of it also. Why didn't you tell me, Lord? Or why didn't you show me, Lord, before? Here's how I believe. There's some things the Lord doesn't tell us or show us because either we weren't ready or we couldn't handle it. But I believe so many things where I may have made a mistake or you may have made a mistake. And then you may ask, Lord, where were you in this? That I believe when we get to heaven, that he could show us, I tried to tell you. Or, I did tell you. I did tell you. Sometimes something doesn't work out for me, and I can look back at something that I had received in some form of message and say, the Lord was telling me. He was telling me. And I can't believe I'm the only one. I have to believe that you've made decisions in your life that you may have made a wrong decision, and you look back and you could see where you had counsel from the Lord. You just either didn't hear it right, or you ignored it, or you may have thought it was the pizza. I can't believe I'm the only one. Because sometimes I'll get something, I'm like, you remember we were moving in this building, or we're in the process. And I'm praying, and I'm seeking, and I'm sending out emails, I'm sending out texts, I'm sending out phone calls, I'm looking for direction, I'm looking for some answers. And the Lord speaks to me. Shoes. Shoes? Squirrel? Now, the Lord doesn't do the squirrel thing, but to me, it's like shoes. I want your shoes. I'm looking for resources, and the Lord says, I want your shoes. What he was saying. Yeah, you're looking for silver and looking for gold. Yes, we're looking for silver and we're looking for gold. But the Lord, it's not just, yes, we bring our silver and gold, but he wants your shoes. And what your shoes are is your ugliness. He wants your ugliness. He wants my ugliness. Do you know what that means? The ugly part of ourselves, he wants that. Now I'm ministering. Minister J. Mac. Text 77977, New Creation AZ to give. Cash App, tithing, write a check. That may seem hard. It may seem hard for some. It may seem hard. I don't even know if I have any. Don't have anything in my pockets. Scratch a check off. And some of you that may not be that difficult for you. Some of you it may be difficult. Not that you don't have the money, but just to give up that money, the silver, the gold. Because what is a check? What is a cash? It represents. It's supposed to represent gold, right? It's supposed to be backed by gold. Now things have changed a lot. But anyways, giving your silver and your gold can be hard. But the hardest thing you will ever give, the hardest thing you will ever give up is not your silver or your gold. It's your ugliness. The last thing we will give up or want to give up is our ugliness. Our ugliness, we've lived with it. We've cuddled with it. We went to bed with it. We've woken up with it. And the Lord's saying, I want that. You know that part of you that loses it sometimes? Wait. 1, 2, 3, testing. You know that side of you? That you just crawling out of your skin, and maybe you're raising your voice, or you're stomping your feet, or you're letting it rip. You know that part of you? That's the hardest part for you to give up. And a lot of times, we'll hold on to that ugly side. I need something. Give me that Kleenex box, please, Brother Dan. We'll hold on to it. It's like, no one's taking this from me. No one's getting this from me. And you know what we'll say? It's not fair. It's not fair. Why does he get to keep his and I have to give up mine? Why does she get to do that? Why does she get to run the streets? Why does she get to throw herself around? Why does he get to live loose and free and stay out in Old Town till 2 in the morning? Why does he get to do that? Why does she get so much? Or why does he get... No, you're missing it. For the Lord to ask for your ugliness is not a penalty. It's a get to. It's a get to. And I'm ministering now. But if you've never done this, I encourage you to do it. Now, you don't do it right now, but find some time. Open up the line with the Lord and start going down and talk to Him about your ugly areas. Things that you may have been through, you've done, or things that you may have thought. Yes, I know this can be uncomfortable, but that's what the Lord wants. Father God, I struggle with this. I struggle with it. This bothers me, Lord. It bothers me. I don't understand what this is. I don't know. I don't get why this has happened or that's happened, and I don't like it. But you are God. You are perfect. And yes, Lord, I may be confused, or I may be missing this, or this area in my life that I need you to help me with, Father God. See, King David, his ugliness wasn't confronted until it did a whole lot of damage. It did a whole lot of damage, and it hurt a lot of people. But everybody's going to focus on his acts, and they will. He took the lamb. And not only that, he murdered the other guy. He killed him. He murdered the other guy. You see how our selfishness could get us in the wrong place? But his mistake happened. The Bible tells us at the time that they went on the 21-day fast. No, it doesn't say that, huh? But in a sense, it does say that. It was at the time that kings go to war. See, when we go into those fasts, it's the kings and the queens are going to war. And your hands are on the sword. And when you're if you've ever been in any midst of a challenge, like really getting after it, if you've ever played ball, if you've ever sparred, you ever really been challenged in physical realm, you don't have time to think about that other man's little lamb. You're just trying to keep yourself. I can make it through this, climb that mountain, that challenging thing that's pushing you. And I can do this, I can do this, I can get this, I can get this. I'm gonna get past this. I'm gonna get through this. This is gonna pass. This is gonna pass. You don't have time to get yourself in trouble. But idle hands, idle time, doing nothing is where it starts. When we do nothing, it's when we get ourselves in trouble. So, instead of looking, what's the least I can do, or if I can get by with doing nothing, look and say, what's the most I can do? Because when you're doing the most, you won't find yourself going down the wrong path. And then when we do nothing and everything is comfort and our purpose is pleasure. You ever hear anyone say, I went on a 2-week cruise and the Lord spoke to me? I went down to Cabo and I had an epiphany. You don't hear it. I was in a hard time. It was touch and go. They weren't sure what was going to happen to me. And the Lord spoke to me. I was in the most difficult time of my life. And I heard the Lord. Isn't that what happens? Team, as you come up, so I get out of here. Do you know when music is the most impactful? It's when you're going through the hardest times. The harder the time is, the more the music just seems to touch. Yes, I'm for the celebrations. I'm for the victories. I'm for them. But that's not where you get your revelation. That's not where you get your epiphany. That's not where you get the voice of the Lord. It's through them times you don't like. And I thank you today for being here. I thank you for being here. Because many are not here because they are seeking pleasure, and that's their purpose. They find that their purpose is to receive as much pleasure as they can get. And guess what happens? They won't hear. Can't hear it. You will hear because you've been challenged in your life. You will hear the voice of the Lord. And if you have an ear, keep that ear.